South Philadelphia Citizens Bank Park, and this was something to behold. A night to really hold up to the light and make fireworks, because Arizona comes to Citizens Bank Park with a 5-0 playoff record and leaves with 2 straight losses. The only question now is whether the Phillies return to Philadelphia to play a Game 6 or to ready for the World Series. And I think we all know the answer to that question. Arizona didn't know what hit them. Oh, the Phillies did, as they wrapped out 10 runs, 15-3. They've outscored the Diamondbacks in 2 games. Phils win. They're up 2-0 in the NLCS, and we welcome you to Phillies Postgame Live, presented by our friends at Cure Auto Insurance. Ricky Pitalico, Ben Davis, Ruben Amaro Jr., all the interviews, all the analysis, and ho-hum, no big deal, no big whoop. To get it started, Trea Turner, home run, Kyle Schwarber, 1, then another, 3 home runs tonight, 10-0 against this team. Wow, Ricky.
That was beautiful. I mean, not only did the offense show up tonight, they put up 10 runs, and it was almost a yawner offensively. Aaron Nola, outstanding. Amazing. Bullpen, outstanding. They had a 1.6 ERA through their first 7 games coming. Is that correct? Or 8 games now? Mm-hmm. Whatever it is. They had a 1.6 coming into this game. They put up a goose egg in this one. Benny? That's exactly what you want to see.
5 for 7 with runners in scoring position. 5 for 7. This was a bludgeoning of the Arizona Diamondbacks. That dugout, they kept panning to the Diamondbacks dugout. I don't know why they did, but that was a team that was just completely beaten down. The looks on their faces could not have been any longer. There's like, just get me out of this place. I mean, those bubbles that you see in cartoons that are above the character? That's literally what they have said. Get me out of this place, because they wanted no part of it. Wanted no parts.
The most impressive thing about this for me is the pitching. They have just been spectacular. I mean, historically good. And the fact that Aaron Nola and, as Ricky said, the bullpen, they were just lights out. And I like the fact that they got Kerkering in there at the end of the game to get a good feel for being in this situation. He doesn't look like he's sweating at all, guys.
He doesn't care.
It's unbelievable. He's out there just firing and believing in his stuff, and he's got great stuff.
He's got an arm and a half on him.
It's just tremendous, and he's got a nasty slider, but he also throws a 98, 99 mile an hour sinker. I mean, it's filth. And so, and for him to get that opportunity with the crowd there, and I think that's a great move by Topper of giving him that opportunity to be in there, regardless of the score. But this kid, he's pretty impressive.
All right.
Great pitching.
I will see you on the pitching and raise you on the hitting, because they have had, as we all well know, the Phillies have had an historic last 4 games. 15 home runs smacked out of here in the last 4 games, and that is a Major League Baseball record for that span in the postseason. 14 of the 15 solo shots, and the only thing I can think of, Ben, is because no one's on base because the last guy hit a home run to go around trip.
That's it. That is exactly the case in point. But how about Kyle Schwarber getting hot? Are you kidding me? He seemed lifeless against the Braves, but he has come out in this series and just attacking baseballs. He one-armed a ball out to the Phillies bullpen and hit it 427. Who does that?
He's Fred Flintstone.
It's unbelievable. Seemingly, we come up with these stats every game like something else happened. There's a new record with this offense and the home runs every night.
And when you're talking about a Major League record in the 100-plus years, 120-plus years that the World Series and the postseason has been around, 3 home runs tonight, 15 home runs in the last 4 games. Most homers in a 4-game span in Major League postseason history. 14 of the 15 homers have been solo. Second team in Major League history to hit 3 or more home runs in 4 straight postseason games. Kyle Schwarber, 9 career postseason home runs with the Phillies. That's 4th in team history.
I wonder if Sean could bring up that graphic we had earlier.
Sean Kane, our esteemed producer.
Of course.
What are you looking
that
for?
graphic with the home runs earlier, because Schwarber is making a run at that too. And I'm telling you, he's not done. He's not done. They're going out to Arizona. This guy, when he gets hot, he stays hot. He's a firecracker. You shoot him up, boom. He hits a lot of home runs in bunches. And I mean, that did not surprise me tonight. The Turner home run didn't surprise me tonight. I mean, Harper missed by a millimeter of getting one out to left center field. This was a destruction a destruction of the Snakes. Look
There
at
you
this.
go, Bobo.
Yeah. Take a good look here. Look who's number 4
at
now,
Shawnee
boys.
doing his
Kyle
thing.
Schwarber. And number 2, guess what? Whether it's Schwarber or whether it's Harper, one of them's going to be number 1 on that all-time list by the time the playoffs is over. Phillies franchise history, Jason Worth, Harper and Utley tied, Schwarber, Howard, Hoskins, Victorino, and Dykstra.
It's unbelievable.
The thing that impresses me the most about this ball club is, and I think about it, it was a 2-0 game. It was a tight game through the 5th inning. They had just struck out 3 guys in a row. And then the 3rd time through the lineup, all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. When they got a chance to see Merrill Kelly a few times, they made the adjustments they had to make. They knocked him out of the ball game, and then all hell broke loose. But I'm really impressed by the fact that this team not only is like a home run hitting team, but they also work together and think about and try to make the adjustments. Made a great adjustment today and just blew them out at the end.
One thing I did notice, I was sitting down low tonight for a while watching, and after every at-bat or somebody scores, it was a whisper into the next guy's ear, letting them know what to look for. And I think that's fantastic.
Let's go to the field right now where moments ago John Clark caught up with Kyle Schwarber.
Here with Kyle Schwarber. I was just talking to Kevin Long. He wanted me to ask you what took you so long getting the crowd going tonight.
Trey did a really good job of that tonight, getting the first inning home run going. But yeah, it was a great offensive day for us. Merrill actually did a pretty good job tonight. Got us 3 hits. Luckily, we were able to do some damage. But I felt like our at bats, even after he came out of the game, we were able to grind some at bats and then get some clutch hits there to keep extending the lead, which is huge. Runs are at a premium in the postseason, and we want to keep piling them on.
Last night you said sometimes you hear the crowd and that lets you know your ball went out. Did you think your first one was going out?
Oh, no, I was booking it out of the box. I was just thinking, all right, if it doesn't go out, I better be on second base. And, luckily it went out. But, yeah, it was, like I said, it was a great offensive day for all of us where we kept extending the lead and wanting to, like I said, runs out of premium. We got to keep going.
You now have 18 postseason homers in your career, tied with Reggie Jackson and Mickey Mantle, and only 6 guys have more in history. Are you able to soak that in a little bit, what you're doing?
I think that's just more of a testament to being on a great team like this. Being in the postseason twice since you're in the Phillies, and we got such a great group of guys that I wouldn't want to go to war with anyone else than these guys. And we just got to keep going. But like I said, great group of human beings we got in this clubhouse, and it's all because of them.
Final question for you. You've got some guys who played football on this team like yourself. Is there that kind of aggressiveness and that mentality in these games, especially at home?
Yeah, I think when you look around and you got 46,000 people standing ready to rock and roll, it's like an Eagles game out here. And you know what? Like you kind of take on that mentality of what they're putting on for us. They're doing everything they can to will us to a win, and they're doing everything that they can to kind of throw a wrench in the other team's plans. And we want to embrace that as we keep going through this postseason.
Great. See you in Arizona.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for your time, Kyle. Appreciate it.
Football mentality, and then Kyle Schwarber said, yeah, it's like being at an Eagles game, which is unbelievable. And they're all the Phillies, they are Eagles fans as well. As we know, the Eagles are Phillies fans. That's spectacular.
But it's just like anything else. If I'm upstairs and I give you the old, whoa, you don't feel that adrenaline rush?
I do.
Well, think about 46,000 people doing that to you. I mean, there's no way these guys do not get fired up every time they step onto that field. And you know what? I'm going to say something because I heard this a couple times upstairs. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a ton of Phillies fans out in Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen them play football out there. There's plenty of Eagles fans out there. Would not surprise me even in the least if 25% of that stadium is Phillies fans. And you know what? These fans are the greatest in the world.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Phillies, if they come back, we'll see how it goes in Arizona, if they came back and there's no seats left at the link. They took all the seats out, like physically removed them because no one sits down anyway. I was walking out and I got a chance to talk to Joe Torre, the great Joe Torre. And I said, Joe, what do you think of this? He goes, I've never seen anything like it. I said, isn't it great? He said, there's nothing like it. To hear that come from Joe Torre. Joe Torre's managed in a couple big games in a big stadium at Yankee Stadium. He's been around the block. And for him to say that, it speaks volumes of what this crowd can do to an opposing team. It is very intimidating. I get intimidated. I'm not even out on that field, but I'm putting myself in their shoes, thinking, how do you go against what they're doing? How do you battle that from a mental standpoint, from a physical standpoint? You want to do more, but then your productivity goes down. And then from a mental standpoint, it's like, I'm exhausted. Like, I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, it's incredible. We were over there tonight.
Well put.
I was watching in the seats with my family, and I'd never seen a crowd stand throughout an entire half inning, sit on the break, stand again, and this was out in the stands.
Nonstop.
It was like a concert. You're going to need your help by the end of the show. I really do. One, it's a 0.96 in 3 postseason starts. The bottom line is the bottom line for Aaron Nola. 6 innings tonight, 3 hits allowed. That's it. Not an earned run to be found.
Pay this man his money.
Well, that's going to be a big question following the season.
This is what I think is remarkable about the work that he's doing. He's made a mechanical adjustment, yes. But he's also made a monster mechanical adjustment in the way that he delivers the pitch when he is in the stretch. For a pitcher who is now 7 years into his major league career, to now make this adjustment because he knew it was something that was important and he did not want to give up extra bases with a team, particularly a team like this, allow them to get stolen bases and to not lose his stuff. He has made, that is amazing to me. There's very, very few guys who can do this in baseball to totally revamp your ability to hold runners. This is something that I think is remarkable. And he's still getting people out and making quality pitches. You saw him in that first inning. He pitched right over that error, right out of the chute from Turner, pitched over it, got a couple of strikouts.
And what you're talking about is the slide step.
And the slide step was it's just spectacular. He shortened up his times to get to the plate to help JT in case he's got to throw somebody out. And that is really remarkable.
Yeah, let's remember during the regular season, he was and finished among the league leaders, baseball leaders, in home runs allowed. And that was a concern. Can you keep the ball in the park on a given start? And the answer in the postseason has been a resounding yes. Hasn't given up a 1. And you look at the 3-headed monster that will continue in Arizona with Ranger Suarez taking the mound. Wheeler 2-0 with a 2.37 ERA and 19 innings pitched, just 5 earned runs. Nola, just 2 earned runs. He's 3-0 with a 0.96. And Ranger Suarez, 1-0, 1.04 ERA, 6 strikeouts, just 1 earned run.
What's wrong with Wheeler? Come on now.
He's really got to pick up his end.
2.37.
It's incredible.
Concerning. It is incredible. But each of them tries to outdo the other.
But I think Ruben said it. This is historical. I mean, this is no longer even like, oh, it's just the Phillies pitching staff. This is like, I mean, unbelievable. This is like Schilling and Johnson that year with the Diamondbacks. This is legit, and these guys go out there, battle every single time, and I mean, plus you're getting home runs every single game. This team's going to be a hard stop. You can't stop this team.
I'll tell you what, they had stopped Bryson Stott for the beginning of this playoffs, and he has made up for it tonight. 2 for 4 with a couple of runs scored. Here's Bryson Stott in the clubhouse post-game.
What's impressed you about the way Nola's been throwing the ball tonight and just this postseason?
I mean, everything. All his pitches are working. I think he's getting ahead of hitters and going right at them. And if they hit it, we're making plays, and I think that's the biggest thing is all of his pitchers are kind of on right now. So
3 hits against Merrill Kelly, all 3 of them left the yard. How's it feel like as an offense to know you guys aren't only hitting mistakes, but you're punishing them?
Yeah, those are 2 of the best hitters in the game, I think, and they don't miss very many mistakes. And this time of year, the pitchers don't make many mistakes, so try to do your best to capitalize on them, and they did that. So
what's the key heading now, almost all the way across the country, to maintaining this momentum and not letting your foot off the gas?
Yeah, just keep going, keep taking the good at bats, and get there tomorrow and go through our workout like we would do at home, and make sure we're swinging at the right pitches and going from there.
You see the reaction from you, especially on the bench when these home runs are hit. What does that do adrenaline-wise and confidence-wise for the entire lineup?
Yeah, no, I mean, they hit the ball really far, and sometimes you're just like, whoa. And yeah, I think everyone kind of goes crazy. I'm always next to Stubbs, and he does whatever he does, and the whole dugout gets into it, so it's really fun.
Kind of related to the game, but also a little bit unrelated to the game. What do you think of when the crowd sings your walk-up song the way they do?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, picking that song, I never imagined this, but I feel like every at bat, it gets louder and louder, and trying to do my best to get some hits so they keep singing it. But it's been awesome, and I mean, I think I've had a couple where they go out to the mound and talk to the pitcher, and then they play it again and they do it again. So it's pretty awesome.
How about the fact that people are now turning on their phone lights like they're at a concert? My 11-year-old son loves doing that when your walk-up song comes on.
I haven't seen that yet, but
But you haven't seen it? Look up, if you look up to the right field in the top there, the whole section does it.
okay, yeah, I'll do that next time.
To score more runs, and it changes the complexion of the game.
You can change the momentum with defense as well. I mean, and there's no question in my mind that play and another play, he's had a couple of double plays. He had three that were. These were not easy plays, and as Ben said, I mean, this guy has worked his rear end off to be a good quality third baseman. There was a lot of question whether this young man would be able to play third base or be a liability there, and he has come a long way, and boy, are the Phillies happy, because this is a player that's going to be under control for a long time. He's relatively cheap as far as your salary is concerned, and they have him, they have him for a while. He's a really, really good run producer.
He sure is. Let's get Rob Thomson's thoughts on this game tonight and his team post-game in the clubhouse.
Hi, Rob. Conventional wisdom is that pitching dominates in the postseason, and your pitching obviously has been very good, but can you even begin to explain why your offense has been able to do what they've done?
Well, we got a really good lineup, and it's a long lineup, and we're swinging the bats really well right now. I thought Merrill Kelly did a really nice job, and we finally got to him in the sixth. We hit a couple of solo home runs, but he kept us off balance for the most part up until the sixth, and then we started to string some hits together and put up some crooked numbers. So that was good, but offense comes and goes. We got to stay on it.
I was going to ask you about that. Over half the runs you've scored have come on the home runs.
Yeah.
Is that hard to sustain for the rest of this series and the next series if you make it?
Well, that means that the other half of the runs came from stringing hits together. So we can do it both ways.
A few more for Rob, back there on the right side.
Hey, Rob, can you talk about the decision back on June 2nd when you moved Kyle into the leadoff spot and how that kind of helped you guys really take off the rest of the season?
Well, that was June Schwarber, as they say around here. But I thought that I believe we were struggling at the time, and it was time to make a little bit of a change, and that was the recipe last year with Schwarber in the leadoff spot, and it just sort of clicked, and we started winning, we started scoring runs, and Schwarber got hot. That was really basically what was behind it.
Down here in the front.
How do you explain Aaron Nola's performance in the postseason and dating back to the end of the regular season? What's made the difference for him, especially tonight?
Well, they made a little mechanical change with his stride direction, and once he did that, that was like 2 or 3 starts, his last 2 or 3 starts of the season, and he started getting the ball to his glove side, and the breaking ball became better, the changeup became better. He started using his changeup a little bit more, and he's dialed it up ever since. And tonight, he was fantastic. I thought he did a great job. If the bottom of the 6th hadn't gone so long, he probably would have gone out. We would have sent him out for the 7th. But it went so long, I just said that's enough. Now we can get some guys some work. And so we got Hoffman and Strom and Kerkering work because they hadn't pitched in 4 or 5 days. So it all worked out. But he was fantastic tonight.
Okay, last one's for Rob on the middle aisle on the left.
I'm just wondering what you thought about Alec Boehm's performance tonight. A couple big defensive plays early, gets the hit late. You've stuck with him in that 4 spot, even though he's gone through some struggles. I'm just kind of wondering what your overall impression of his game was.
Yeah, his first at bat, he was a click away from hitting the ball over the center field fence, and then he got a big double. And the first play, the diving play to his backhand, it seemed like the ball was by him, and somehow he got his glove on it and threw from his knees. He's really played well defensively lately, and for a while now. But he can hit, and you just have to trust that at some point, as I just said, offense comes and goes. At some point, he's going to hit again, and the last couple of nights, his swing has looked really good.
Anything else for Rob? Take one more down here in the front.
Rules are the same for everybody, but do you think it's possible, like when you talk about in the playoffs having a slow heartbeat and slowing the game down, do you think that the pacing that the players have experienced all year long maybe has helped in some shape or form for them to pace themselves during the games, and they're always under pressure, so to speak, on some level, so they're...
Maybe. I think everybody had to make an adjustment at the start of the year with the pitch clock. And I think that's what you're talking about, correct? Yeah. Everybody had to make an adjustment with the pitch clock, and I think everybody, for the most part, did. And then once the playoffs start, there's another intensity level this game goes to. And so they have to make another adjustment. And I think our guys have done a really good job with that.
All right.
Rob Thomson talking about his team's play, talking about the fact that they are just darn good hitters, which they are, but also discussing tonight's starter, Aaron Nola, said he made a mechanical change with his stride direction, as we have discussed. Last 2 or 3 starts of the season. Started getting the ball to the glove side, dialed it up ever since. Tonight was fantastic, and he said the bottom of the 6th, had it not gone so long, he would have gone out for the 7th. He thought he was that good.
Why bother? I mean, you're beating the daylights out of a team. Why bother risking any type of injury? I mean, you went up, what did they go up, 6-0 at that point? Don't worry about it.
He only threw 82 pitches, 58 of which were strikes.
Yeah.
I just noticed a different finish on his pitches, especially his fastball, and we're seeing some percentages go up as well. In his last 3 starts, he's thrown his changeup percentage went from 17% down to 11%. Tonight it was at 23%. So he's finding that pitch again to go along with the good 2-seamer, and he's getting a lot more action at the bottom of the zone. But everything is down. That's why, knock on wood, no, they haven't taken him out of the ballpark, because he has been down in the strike zone, and that is a great sign. You stay on the knees. I don't care if you're throwing 82 or 92 or 102. You stay on the knees. Good things will happen, and he's got that good life down in the zone. And guys are just having a tough time barreling balls up right now.
Now, one of the issues that he had was a couple of years ago. They started to change him because they wanted him to all of a sudden throw high fastballs. That is not Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola's strengths is being able to use both sides of the plate with movement, keeping the ball down, utilizing his curveball, and then he developed, as he got into his career, his changeup, which became a very, very effective pitch. He lost that ability to do that, whether it was mechanics, whether it was the thought process through the pitching coaches or whatever the case may be. But it's taken a while for him to get back to the point where he's driving the ball down in the zone, and that's where he is most effective.
But I think Ruben has already hit on the most important point. When he was getting runners on base early on in the season, everything was a disaster. There was a pitch clock. There were the guys running, stealing on him constantly. All of a sudden, he opens up his hip, and it's very noticeable from behind home plate. He's actually has his hip open and ready to throw towards first base, and then he kind of just pulls it back and then goes towards the plate when he's making a pitch. But I look at it this way: if he got to some kind of comfort zone and he's holding runners better that way, all he has to do is concentrate now on the mitt, and that's the main thing. I think he was losing his concentration level early on in the season to the mitt. What he was thinking about is the base runners. This guy's going to steal. Now he's going to score. Oh, I hung a curveball. It's out of the ballpark. That guy's gone. That guy disappeared.
It looks like he's gone. 0.96 postseason ERA. Here's Aaron Nola postgame in the clubhouse.
Straight to the plate rather than across my body and keeping my shoulders squared, especially in my stretch. So I feel like that's helped me command all my pitches and kind of get rid of a lot of the pull fastballs and changeups and a lot of arm side stuff, so it's allowing me to go more straight to the plate.
Is this kind of a work in progress for you all your life?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, obviously this year's been kind of inconsistent and some good starts and some bad starts, and just kind of up and down all year. But definitely feel a lot better with my delivery now. Just to try to simplify it and not try to move too quick and just slow things down.
Aaron, can you compare how you feel right now compared to maybe how you felt physically after the NLCS start last year in San Diego? Feels better mechanically, physically?
I mean, both mechanically feel good. I felt good last year, that NLCS. They just kind of got me on some pitches, and but obviously this one's a little more fun, right? We're 2-0 right now in the NLCS, going into Arizona, but other than that, body feels good and I'm healthy.
Did you do anything different throughout the season this year to keep your arm, try to preserve it, given the fact that you're a 200 inning a year guy, long run last year in the playoffs, and you expected to go deep again this year?
No, I just had to tinker with a couple things in the offseason just because we went to the World Series, and that was the first time that it was an extra month long, so I had to start a little bit slower than I usually do, but kind of started around the same time. But I mean, I never really try to preserve my arm. I always try to keep it healthy and my body healthy so I can throw 200 plus innings, and now postseason starts. So I feel like I conditioned myself to do that, and as starters, that's what we should want to do.
You being the longest tenured guy here, I mean, you saw some lean years in the beginning with 90 plus losses. Is there ever a time where you wondered if this was ever going to happen here? Like if this team was ever going to be able to contend and get as deep as it has?
No, I knew it was going to happen eventually, right? We signed Bryce, and like when you sign a guy like that, you're not really looking to rebuild anymore. A guy this caliber, and then we signed JT not too long after that, and then we started adding pieces and coming together as a good group, and we kept making those baby steps and finally got to where we wanted to get last year, but came up short, and I kind of expected to do the same this year. I mean, I feel like we have a better team than we do last year with some better additions and pretty much the same squad. So I think that's helped out a lot with the relationships we formed already and the chemistry that we have together and how we pull for each other.
And during the postseason, the radio voice as well with Scott Fransky and friends. There he is. Tom McCarthy.
I feel like Charles Nelson Riley.
Tom McCarthy joins us from outside. Let's keep some decorum here, people.
No.
And Tommy, when you look at what happened tonight, starting with Aaron Nola on the mound and is now 0.96 ERA, he's in completely another stratosphere, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and I thought tonight was probably his best performance because of how he was able to keep them off balance. They were looking, it seemed to be anyway, his two-seamer was excellent, and I think it's gotten better as this postseason's gone on. And we talked about this earlier, that it's not only against the lefties, but it's also against the right-handers, and it had some pretty good jump on it, too. So I thought that was a really good pitch for him tonight, and I thought it really helped out his cause. There's no doubt about that.
Tom, we got a good look at Orion Kerkering tonight. I mean, we don't usually get a real good look at him. I got to tell you, he looks like the guy that could be in the back end of this bullpen. With Sir Anthony struggling a little bit, is there any chance we may see him in higher leverage situations?
Honestly, Ricky, I don't think they're afraid of putting him in high leverage situations. So you could be right. There could be a spot where he goes in like Sir Anthony did in last night's ball game in the 6th or 7th inning, when some of the tougher Diamondbacks hitters are up, the right-handed hitters are up. But I also think he's got the ability with that breaking ball to get the lefties out. And then, of course, he throws 98, 99 miles an hour. So there doesn't seem – there's a chill to him, and – I know a lot of guys, sometimes they're wide-eyed and they're not totally sure of the whole situation. He doesn't seem to be that way. I mean, he's got sort of a makeup to him that I think does warrant the opportunity to be in those high-leverage situations.
T-Mac, I got to stick with my catchers. JT hitting 300 in the postseason, 2 for 4 tonight. He's got 10 RBIs in 8 games. How big is this for the Phillies in the middle of that lineup?
Well, I think it's huge, Ben, and I think part of it is because, they're hitting so many home runs and he's doing the other things. Now, he's got a couple home runs in the postseason, but he also has at least 3 balls into the left center field gap, and I think that that's huge. So I do think it's a big deal. And let's not let what he's doing behind the plate get lost either, because I think he's calling some really good games. I mean, he had a game plan today with Caleb Cotham and with Aaron Nola that I thought was really effective, and I think you could see it by the number of strikeouts. This is a Diamondbacks team that doesn't normally strike out that often, and they went down 13 times. So that's a credit to Nola and the pitching staff for what they're able to do. But I think JT has a lot to do with that also.
T-Mac, momentum is a big thing, and I know they dominated in a couple of games. Now they have a day off, and they're sliding over to Arizona. You think that's going to have any effect on this ball club, the way they handle things?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, but this is a really good Diamondbacks team. I mean, obviously they got hot at the right time and they run the bases really well. I mean, so I don't think from a Phillies standpoint the day off's going to do a whole lot to them. But who knows? I mean, we've seen it already in this postseason when teams have had some time off. Even if it's just a day, it does slow them up in some ways. I mean, it happened to the Braves, happened to the Dodgers. I do think that they have the ability, though, to keep this rolling. But, again, this is a really good Diamondbacks team. So, there's going to be opportunities for them to try to get back into this series once they head home for these 3 games.
And, in fact, JT Realmuto, I'm sure you were in there, Tommy, just said this series is a long way from over, but the Phillies have outscored them 15-3 in 2 games. They're pitching well, they're hitting as well or better. So let me give you the first shot at answering this one. Are they coming back here to play more games against Arizona or to ready for the World Series?
Well, yeah, Michael, I think I said this the other day when you and I were talking. I had thought, just kind of going over the numbers before the series began, that they would wind up coming back here, but then I switched it in the afternoon and said it would be, it would be 5. And I'm going to stick with that. I still think that it's going to stay in Arizona, and then the Phillies will prepare to go wherever they have to go for the World Series.
Music to our ears. Ruben, you got something?
Yeah, just one more question. Talk a little bit about the defense, because we don't talk about that all that much. We talk about pitching, and talk about how well they've been playing defensively, because that's something that's really stood out for me, because this is a team that was much maligned about their defense last year. Did we lose them?
Bryce has been able to do at first base. I mean, obviously, what Bryce has been able to do at first base has been fantastic. I mean, he's played really well over there. And I think Alec made some really good plays tonight and even did so yesterday as well. So, yeah, I think it's a big deal. Aaron Nola in the regular season had given up more unearned runs than anybody else on the Phillies staff. So you can see, and he even talked about it during the postgame, how important it was to flip the leather and the way they did that tonight. And I think you've seen that in the other postseason games for him. I mean, some guys sometimes are snake bit, and he certainly was during the regular season at times, particularly the first half of the season. But these guys played really well behind him from a defensive standpoint.
Tom McCarthy.
Snake bit, huh? No pun intended. Snake bit.
I see what you did there.
Snake bitten. No pun intended.
Snake bit.
You know what? It just honestly, it just comes out. I didn't even realize I said it.
You're a wordsmith. I mean, come on. That's how you roll. Tom McCarthy, it is always a joy to talk to you and get your insight. We will do so on Thursday from Arizona. Thanks, Tommy. Appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Have
See
a
you,
great
boys.
night. Tom McCarthy joining us from outside the clubhouse. Let's go to Trea Turner moments ago at the clubhouse.
NLCS game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we envisioned yesterday a little bit, and kind of finishing it off. But got the lead early, and then kind of like we talked about yesterday, just keep tacking on and try to make it out of hand as fast as possible. And just a good team win. Pitching was great, and we did well on offense, obviously.
Trea, you started it off. How did it feel?
Yeah, it felt good. Getting that first run across the board is big in the postseason. Just kind of eases the dugout a little bit, and we don't care who does what. We just want to score some runs. So it was nice getting that started, and Kyle put some good swings on the ball. We had good at-bats all day. So, yeah, it was fun.
Before the game, you were asked about what Kelly said about the crowd and comparing to the World Baseball Classic. You said he'll talk to him after. How do you think he feels now?
I don't know. Ask him. But he pitched good. A couple mistakes for the homers, but he pitched good, kept them in the game. We got respect for him, so kind of exactly what we thought out of him. And we had a battle, and it was a tough win, but got it done in front of our home crowd.